CultFans, Episode 4. Today we have guest Trent Taylor talking about his experiences working on set for The Outpost. Trent is an upcoming actor we have great faith in, and he's been putting the pedal to the metal this last year, featuring in many fantastic shorts and varied roles including Yellowstone, Andy Mack, and the in-post production The Night Clerk, with more promise waiting in the upcoming year. We really believe this guy is going places, so stay with us and hear all about him on The Outpost set and a variety of other work. Let's get to it. Hi there, and welcome to CultFans, Episode 4. Today we have with us Trent Taylor. And, of course, we have our usuals. There's Tim, we have Shay, and Stacy. But let's be real, everyone's here for Trent. So, hi, we've had a heck of a time arranging it, but it's great to finally have you here this time. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are all you?
I'm doing great. What about the rest of y'all?
Great. Fantastic.
Okay. And the thing is, we really are excited. A few of our viewers might be wondering where they've seen you in the Outpost, but the answer is kind of everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of. There, a little bit of everything.
And we're going to end up exploring a bunch of your work, even outside of the Outpost, but it's worth pointing out that Trent here plays Watchman #1, and while some people might be going, who? Let me tell you, following you around has had me develop like a whole headcanon about the point of view of your character who seems to be everywhere.
Thanks. It really is an interesting character. Obviously, it'd be a lot better if he could speak, but he's seen a lot of stuff. You're basically a sheriff of the town, and so he sees the inner workings of pretty much everything that happens.
My personal vote is Prime Order Spy. Or the writer of the Outpost Inquirer.
Yeah.
Can we do that like at Dean Devlin? Petition for Watchmen 1 to be a Covenant agent in season 2. Give Trent some speaking lines.
Actually, I'll be a Covenant agent, but I'm still loyal to Withers, so I'm pretending to be a double. So I'm a triple agent.
Oh, the plot thickens. Seriously, though.
Wait, is that canon or?
No, not.
Seriously,
nice,
though, before we end up talking conspiracy theories on your everywhereness, let's touch on you a little bit. Can you tell us, like, what got you into acting or your general origin story before The Outpost?
Wow. Well, that I'd have to go way back. I did a fair amount of acting when I was, a teenager. In fact, the very first time I was actually walking by a set, and it was some horse stables, and the guy's like, "Hey, can you do us a favor?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, what?" And he's like, "Look, we need someone that looks pretty much just like you to walk by the stables, trip right here, correct yourself, look around like nothing happened, and then walk." And luckily my mom was there. We signed the paperwork. I think I made like $50. It was kind of cool for a kid, but I did. But on the first take, I'm just sitting here walking along, and then instead of just stumbling, I went flat, and then I bounced back up, and he said it was absolutely perfect, and he loved it. And then I spent the next 2 hours inhaling the crafty table, and then it was time for me to go. And it was at that point I decided I wanted to be an actor. And so I did a lot of different things. And then
you got the falling on your face out of the way quick.
Yes, I did. And so I enjoyed it so much, I even joined the Society for Cato Anachronism, also known as the SCA. I was in the Mountain Men doing the rendezvous and stuff. Did a lot of plays. And then my daughter was born. And I was 19 and a half years old, and I decided I needed to get a job that actually paid enough to support another human being.
Huh.
So I got out of it. I did a whole bunch of stuff, and then in January, I just was so burnt out on my job. I had a rough boss. This person came in, and it just she kind of destroyed the whole department. So I had enough saved up that I decided to take a sabbatical and see what I can do in the industry.
Hey, that's It's great to actually hear you getting back into a passion as well.
Yeah.
And everybody starts somewhere, and from what I understand, you've really been grinding this year, even outside of the Outpost between January and now. Can you tell us a little bit about your other projects?
Oh wow. Well, let's see. In Memoriam was a 48-hour film festival. Those are fun because right at 11 p.m. on Friday night, they give you a prop, a phrase, and like a character that you have to use. And this is to prove that it's not something that you've done before, but it's also a lot of fun. And so we spend all night and all morning just hashing out the script, locations, props, everything you can imagine, and then you just jump into filming as soon as you can. By Sunday at 11 p.m., you have to have it rendered, everything done, and handed in. And so it's a mad dash. And so people always ask, why is it worth it? Is it something? Yes, it's absolutely worth it. I had the time of my life doing that one. I did a commercial for a really good cause called For Girls. It's about women in third world countries. I'm not going to go into depth with that one, though. I was a priest. It was just a little spot, but I had a lot of fun. Boy, I've done so much, it's hard to remember everything. Lazarus is coming out on the Film Quest. That's another film festival next week, I think, actually. Yeah, no, it's next week. In that one, I play the character Lazarus. Super evil. I hesitate to even use the word rapist, but unfortunately he is. He's a murderer, and he's a scary individual. I haven't even seen that one yet. I did The Attic, which is I hesitate to call it a horror, but
A thriller?
it's kind of a I don't even know where to place it, but yeah, I guess I'd have to put it in horror. I just got off a prison recreation. Those are always interesting because nobody speaks. It's a narrator and then the person that it's about. So it's just all body movements and everything. Let's see. Did a BYU commercial. The interrogation was insanely fun. A friend of mine, Aaron Hurt, he said, Trent, I've got a school project. He goes to Utah Valley University to be a filmmaker, amongst so many other things. The kid is amazingly talented. He's in a band too. I'm trying to remember the name of the band, and it eludes me right now. But so I said, sure. He's like, you want to play bad guy? I'm like, yeah, why not? So I played Dirty Dan in that one. It was a one-day shoot, really fast, and when you look at how it was put together, you can see how brilliant Aaron is when it comes to filmmaking. So I'm really looking forward to him making more. And he said he definitely wanted me to come in and work with him again. And I know that there's more, but I can't remember right now.
Let me know if he ends up making more. The interrogation had me laughing, and I fully admit to putting a good deal of what our audience saw in the opening from outside of that was actually clips from the interrogation. You can find it on YouTube. If you look up, it was the interrogation comedy short. It's only
Yeah.
5-ish minutes long, and it's a hilarious little run. Now, Hmm?
Oh, sorry. In that, I wanted to mention all the yelling and screaming. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I love talking to you, but I'm going to end up passing you to Stacy for the Outpost questions before Shay follows up with a deeper dive in your career before I eat up all of your time. So, Stacy?
Thanks, man. Hi, Trent.
Hi. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Yeah, that's me. Okay, so like Min said earlier, your character is kind of everywhere. To name a few moments with Talon and Janzo, Talon and Garrett's sensitive conversations, Talon's arrest, the revelation of Gwen's identity. We just got to know, do you have any official personal imaginations about your character's journey as Watchman number one views events and outposts?
Me and all right, so I met some amazing people on set, And my first day on, I met two people that, I mean, to this day I treasure so dearly. Danny and Micah, if you guys are out there listening, love you guys. First day there, we were all three of us watchmen. Danny had been there since the very beginning, and he kind of fathered us into it. It was great. So me and Danny, we were on a lot. Micah, he's got a real job, so he couldn't come as often as he wanted to. But me and Danny ended up kind of coming up with our own ideas for what the characters were. So you look at Withers, and I mean, he is such a delicious character, and Andrew Howard is by far and away one of my favorite actors. I so geeked out when I first saw him on set. I'm like, that is Andrew Howard. You've got to be kidding me. And I've gotten to know Andrew since then, and he is even more of an amazing person in person than he is acting, which kind of blows my mind. So mine and Danny's characters, we kind of imagined it that, I mean, we're not saints. We'll take bribes. I'm pretty sure we probably do, I don't know, a little bit of stuff in the dungeons. Not exactly sure there. But our main purpose is to make sure that everybody inside of the outpost is safe and well, especially when they're bribing us, of course. In I think it was episode 3 or 4, 3. I don't remember. So when they first burst into the outpost on their horses and everything, you see Talon, and she's got the bag over her head just after we arrest her. I felt like our characters were, even though we only had the little magic lint roller +2s to hit people with, me and him were ready to dive in and do what we could to save our boss and the outpost.
Right. That's true. That you guys were definitely a little bit of everything and everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because I was also in a like another scene where we're up in the mountains, and they're giving this speech, and then we find out she's the queen, and so I was like a rebel in that one. I'd probably left the outpost or something at that point and just there helping the cause. Somewhere in the future, though, you're going to see a pretty wicked stunt. At least it felt good to me, and I pray to the cinema gods that they don't cut it, because it sure felt awesome. I don't want to go into it, though. I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, that's. I got a question on that as well. I know you don't call yourself a stuntman per se, but you have done some stunts, as you talked about earlier, with your first gig, so to speak. Would you like to kind of, did you volunteer?
Oh,
Do you
definitely.
like just falling on stuff?
Yeah, I have no problem with most stunts. I mean, there's obviously a few things I'm probably not physically able to do, but anything that I am physically able to do, I'm okay with, because I just love the idea of being, the actor that does that kind of thing. Not like Jackie Chan, but someone who's willing to dive and jump and fall and get blown away, all that kind of stuff.
So if they say, is there a volunteer to jump on somebody to tackle them?
Over here, right here. Do you see me?
Trent's the guy.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, let's see. Since your character seems to get around, behind the main characters a lot, we try to ask everybody that we get on the show with us the same question. We hear the same kind of story, but we want to ask your view as well about the atmosphere on set. Everybody talks about the family atmosphere.
See, they say that because they're all being whipped. Dean is back there with this cat of nine tails, and he just... No, I've been on a lot of sets, and I have yet to be on one that had as much of a family atmosphere. They treated everyone so well. They fed us even better. there's a catering company called Fat Boy Catering. And it's done by a guy named Richard Taylor. Oh my God. This man makes 90% of everything from scratch, and you can taste the love that he pours into his food. Our crafty was done by Real Foods. And honestly, I wouldn't remember either one of their names if these two weren't the absolute best that I've ever encountered. Both of these companies were amazing, and they fed us through the whole thing, and it's something that we all look forward to. I mean, every day. The producers, the directors, the grips, everybody from the top down. You've met Josh Von Moorbear already, and his lovely wife Jan. Everyone, I consider them all family now. They were man, I'm getting kind of choked up. I actually miss so many of them. They were such great people, and if every set was like that, I mean, I honestly, I think it shows when you watch the show. I think you can see how well everybody actually worked together. I didn't see any prima donna dust-ups or anybody that just violently hated someone else. There was nothing like that. It was an amazing place to work.
Was there any major shenanigans or funnies going on behind the scenes?
There was a lot of shenanigans. Sometimes it was hard to get people to stop laughing. Yeah, I mean, you've seen blooper reels, and then it's like, wow, how did they get anything done? Because I mean, like the Jim Carrey blooper reels are amazing, but it got to to a point where people were able to stop, you know what I mean, and then finally do some acting, but again, if we open up for season 2, there's nothing on high or low that will stop me from being there in almost any capacity, just so I can be with that same group of people.
Can you tell us the story of auditioning for the Outpost? What made you decide to take that character?
I had a few options at the time. Background actors, you don't necessarily audition as long as you're not a douche and you show up on time, and you don't destroy the costumes or anything like that. They let you be something as long as they think that you look the part. So I had the option of being a soldier or watchman, and I chose watchman. I've always liked being a cop or a detective or a sheriff. For some reason, and I keep getting cast in those too. And I just thought being one in a medieval atmosphere like that was it was an amazing opportunity. And honestly, every time I put on the uniform, the costume, I could feel myself changing into him. Even though I don't do that much, I wanted to do so much more. But first season, all that kind of stuff. If I get a second season, you never know what happens. In fact, you know what? I can't tell you that because I might get in trouble. I can't say anything. You'll see later in the episodes. You'll see what I'm talking about. You'll be like, oh, that's what he was going to say. I see.
Do you think that you're positioned for a possible return if there is a season 2? Is that something that you want to continue to do, is to keep working for Aerostorm and that bunch?
Yeah, there definitely. There's I would completely clear my schedule for them. Especially if they can open it up to a speaking role. But my love for the show and the cast and the crew is so much, I'd come back again in any capacity.
That's awesome. Are you kind of a D20 or fantasy nerd like the rest of the crew and other sci-fi or fantasy shows? If so, what characters? What?
I don't mean to brag, but I once played Dungeons and Dragons with Gary Gygax.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was an amazing experience. That man is a genius, and
Allow me
his
to
amount
break
of
turn
imagination.
to say, how dare you?
My character, he gave me a rope. That was my weapon. That was my weapon through the entire experience. I only played with him one day, but I got a rope, and I had to use it in the most inventive fashions possible.
So you fit right in with the bunch that was up there with you then.
I don't carry a D20 in my pocket, but I do have a bag of dice in my truck, and I almost always have at least 2 decks of Magic the Gathering cards with me wherever I go.
That's awesome. Well, you're quite a guy, Trent. I love talking to you. Thank you so much. I'm going to pass over to Shay and let her continue on and let her do a little bit more digging into your career.
Okay.
Thank you, Stacy. Hi, Trent.
Hi.
It's great to talk with you. For those of you just tuning in, we're with Trent Taylor, best known to our viewers as his role as Watchman #1 on the Outpost. But today we're covering some of his other work as well. If you missed any of our feature, don't be bashful and go back afterwards and hear about his time on the Outpost. Now, Trent, we've brushed up on some of your other work when we started, but let's tap a little bit into that. A little birdie told me that you landed your first feature film to begin filming this January.
It's supposed to be. Yeah, I can't talk much about it. One thing I will say though, in fact, I just got done with a meeting about a new show that we're trying to get off the ground. I'm trying to see if I can tell you about it without telling you about it. So it's kind of a retro sci-fi. The working title we have now is called A Space Journey. That's almost all I could say about it. But in it, I'm the casting director. I'm going to do set production. I'm a producer. And that's the conundrum. I want to be an actor in it, but being the casting director, I know how that is. I got to find the right person. My son is actually helping with the writing and a bunch of other stuff too. So keep an eye out for this one. If we can get this thing off the ground, I think it's going to be an absolutely amazing show.
Well, still, that's fascinating, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Be sure to hit us up when you can tell us more about it, and we'll be
yeah.
sure to spread the word to our viewers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
I hope it is. It sounds like it will be. In the meantime, can you tell us a little about your other work? Some of it is circulating film festivals right now, correct?
It is. In fact, some of it will be up at Sundance. Like I said, the 40-hour film festival, that one already came out. Film Quest, The Attic was going to be in Film Quest along with Lazarus, so I thought that was pretty cool. I was in 2 of them, but it didn't quite make it in. So just Lazarus will be in that one, and then let's see. You know what? I totally forgot. I was in another one called. Oh, darn it. What's the name of that one?
A fascinating movie title.
Yeah. So this other one, and it's going to be in a lot of the film festivals. It is, there's a musician, and he is an amazing musician. He wanted to do something kind of like a movie that highlighted his music. And so the music is about the movie, and the movie is about the music. And from I'm trying to see if I can talk about it without destroying anything. I think I can tell you that the main actor in it is he's an autistic person, and he has a lot of problems. And the part I play in that is kind of funny. Is the sheriff of a small town. We have a little thing, and I don't know. When that one comes out, I'll definitely let you guys know that too. And like I said, the music is really, really good. And I just barely remembered because I feel like I'm getting old. Aaron Hurt's band is called Shrinking the Giant. Local band, really, really good. You guys should give it a listen if you ever get the chance.
We'll definitely check them out. So between your various roles, you've been a sheriff on Night Clerk, a priest for both Girls in Memoriam, and for the Girls Campaign, a medieval watchman in the Outpost, a criminal in the interrogation comedy short, a cowboy in Yellowstone, and a justice of the peace in Andy Mack. That's a pretty broad array. Is there any particular type of role you dream of getting someday? A particular show you're dying to work on as, or an actor you're hoping to work with?
You know, the list is so huge. Honestly, if I had my choice, if I could find a production that would cast me as, say, I don't know, kind of a spunky detective, you know, I would snap that up so quickly. Westerns, I would absolutely love to be in a Western. Again, I'd love to either be the bad guy or the sheriff. Kind of like the switch is on or the switch is off. I don't know why. But at this point, I'm still trying to explore the boundaries of what I can and can't do. And so I'm willing to take, you know, most anything just to see if I can do it. I'd love to audition, even for something that's way out of my comfort zone, just to see if I can, you know what I mean, play that part convincingly enough for a casting director to say, yeah, that's the one, we want that one. And like I said, I'm just barely starting to find my boundaries.
Well, that's good. And it's always admittedly, it's always fun to get outside of the box too.
Scary,
because then you
fun.
suddenly you realize you have a brand new talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I didn't know I could pull off gay that good. Wow. Okay, that's good. That is so special. I love it.
So I hear you worked a lot with you worked with a lot of solid names in The Night Clerk. Would you mind talking about the experience?
Yeah. So John Leguizamo, he's another one of those the ones that I've followed his career so well, and I finally got to meet him. And you know, they always say don't meet your heroes. But in both his case and Andrew Howard's case, that wasn't the case. They were both amazing people. John, he's such a cool guy off set. He's down to earth. He'll just sit there and chat with you and talk with you and everything. Ty Sheridan, first day on set, it's kind of funny. He just looks like a normal guy. He was wearing I remember he was wearing a red baseball cap. He had a backpack, had a jacket on because it was kind of cool. And he was walking to his trailer, and I was standing there, you know, waiting for hair and makeup, and he just walks up and shakes my hand. He says, "Hi, I'm Ty." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm Trent." We talked for about 5 minutes, and he says, "Oh, I gotta go." So I'd have to say most of the people that I've met so far are absolutely wonderful people. You hear all these horror stories, but I've only met a couple that are like, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore, you know.
Well, it's as they say, 95% of the people are good out there. It's the 5% that ruin it for everybody else. So
Exactly.
So
And I will
going
have
back
to say, I'm totally sorry. I will have to say,
you're fine.
that filming in Utah is amazing. I mean, the just how beautiful it is. How much the Utah Film Commission tries to help the industry. And there's so many other things that Utah has going for us. I don't know. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, Utah is just this backwards place and nothing's going on." But look at some of the stuff that we've been cranking out. So many big productions are now coming to Utah. I mean, look at what Aerostorm does, and they do it because they love it as much as I do. Behind me, everything about Utah is just gorgeous. So, yeah, if you're out there and you want to film, come check us out.
Absolutely. And I admittedly, I do envy your backyard too. Or is that your front yard?
It is pretty nice. This is backyard.
Okay.
Actually,
it's awesome.
I'll show you a little bit more. So I got this cool little gazebos down there. Let's see if I can point it down there. Yeah, and then just this nice little. It's a little dirty. Sorry. This nice little patio and everything, and just put some new stain on all the redwood, and Yeah, this is one of my favorite places to be.
I can imagine. I'd have a hard time leaving too. um, so, back to Cowboys really quick. You featured shortly on Yellowstone.
Mhm. In
Did
fact,
anything?
I've done that a couple times now. Yeah, I met a couple people on Yellowstone. I didn't get to see Kevin, Mr. Costner. I've heard he's an absolute delight to work with, though. My friend Danny, he's actually got to talk with him for quite a long time because he's been on Yellowstone a lot. And he says Kevin Costner's amazing. But that production is amazing. The boy, the sets are huge. It's just it's hard to explain when they walked me through the business offices and you walk through the set, and it's just one of the sets, and it's up in Park City. It was like walking through the biggest cavern you could imagine. You know, you're waiting for Smaug to come out of the ground and eat you. That's how big this place was, and I can see why. It's the show is such a huge hit. I mean, between the cast and all, I mean, everything that they poured into that show, it's it's pretty amazing.
What was your favorite experience on set?
Well, well, I can't talk about the one I was just at, but I will say that it involved a bowl inside of a building. That's all I'm going to say. But the other day, well, let's see, that episode, last year's episode, it was my fellow actors were, I mean, we end up kind of banding together and becoming, friends and everything. I don't know, we had a lot of fun. It's like you have to keep doing the same scene over and over again. And so there's one where I'm supposed to be walking out the door, kind of walking quickly, and a really good friend of mine, she's coming this way, and each time I tip my hat to her, and she actually mentioned it on Facebook that just I was such a gentleman for tipping my ma'am every time. I don't know. It's just having fun with good people. That's what makes being, on these sets, so it makes it worth it.
Absolutely, it's always nice to have really good coworkers.
In fact, I liked it so much. I started my own Facebook group called Utah Background Acting Troupe, or I call it UBAT. I like to hyphenate it, but I ended up rounding up all these fantastic people, and we just started as kind of a clan, and we do our best to help each other out, find more work and what's going on, and did you work this production, and are you working tomorrow, can you give me a lift, and again, it just shows you how amazing some of these people are.
Yeah. So on a completely different note, um, there is a joke passing around an actors group, hashtag that's my foot. Can you explain, please?
Okay, so one of the producers, actually a friend of mine, he snapped this beautiful photo of one of the stunts that happened, and I don't think it's happened yet, but in the photo you can see big villager guy has slammed a soldier against the wall. He just picked him up and bam, and then he snapped the picture. Well, in that picture, it was right after I did a stunt, which I won't say what it is yet, but I could see my foot, and I happened to actually mention, hey, that's my foot. And Floppy Jalopy, God bless her, she said, hashtag that's my foot. And then she likened it to Mike Wazowski. I'm on TV. So it just kind of stuck. And I absolutely love it. I love her. She's such an amazing person. But yeah, it I guess it is kind of a thing. It didn't trend per se, but if you typed it in, you could see that's my foot.
I was wondering because I had seen it a couple of times.
Yeah. So if you go back and you look at all the pictures and you see that one where he's got him slammed up against the wall and you see a foot, it's mine.
Good to know. Well, thank you, Trent. Now we have TJ collecting questions from the audience. I'll go ahead and pass it to him. TJ?
Thank you. Hi, Trent.
Oh, it's the LC.
Great, great to talk with you. We've got quite a few questions, coincidentally from Floppy Jalopy.
Hi,
She's a bit in
Floppy!
shock. She said, oh, I just said to her, she got a shout out, and she goes, I'm legitimately in shock. Bless you, Trent.
Floppy Jalopy is
I
such
think
an
she wasn't
awesome
expecting
person.
a shout out on live stream. So, but no, Floppy Jalopy's actually thrown quite a few questions our way, as has Catherine Jarman. First from Floppy Jalopy, she said, do you have a dream role?
Well, I think we kind of touched on that. I would love to play a detective, sheriff in a western would tickle me pink. I don't know, anything that just requires me to act. I'm okay with so far. I haven't found anything I don't want to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, you said about the spunky detective role. Was that
Yeah, that would be awesome.
what inspired the spunky detective
If,
role as such? Is that
even something weird like Westworld. If I could go on Westworld,
oh yes,
that would be awesome. I actually auditioned for it, but they never called me.
what role was that for?
I'm trying to remember the name on it because I auditioned so much. I honestly can't remember now.
Was it like a stunt role, or was it like one of the minor roles?
It was a supporting cast role. I can't remember now. Like I said, I auditioned for so many things. Just
that would have been wicked. That's just like the set. The look of that set is like
and
it's
Westworld's
massive.
not too far from here either. So
Is that filmed in Utah as well?
They do some here, yeah. And so the part that I auditioned for would have been here, and I was like, oh please, but
no.
So if you guys are listening, call me back.
Yeah, Catherine Jarman actually said about that was that she had no idea there were so many things that's filmed in Utah. That was quite interesting. And I think like prior to the Outpost, I was very much in the same vein. I was like, yeah, and then like suddenly you see everything like a lot of shows are filmed in Utah.
Oh yeah.
Is it just the backdrop works really well for that, or?
Well, okay, it's not just that. It's that Utah now is very film friendly. Like I mentioned, the Utah Film Commission, who are making huge strides into bringing all these bigger productions into Utah. But there's so many fantastic locations to go to. Other people around. We've gotten to the point now. It's not quite like Hollywood, but it's gotten to the point that people understand. Oh, they're filming a shoot, and so we get what's going on over there, and like I said, it's very very film friendly here, and I think it's just building. It's like a snowball. We'll just keep getting more and more and more, and then hopefully maybe.
I think it was Doctor Who season 6 filmed in Utah, didn't it?
It did.
With Matt Smith, yeah. Was that near you, or was that out a bit further out in where Outpost is?
It was a little south, I believe, but I don't remember the exact location right now.
That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. That like this little place that's not really like usually big for like TV and film is starting to pick up a lot of like the film and TV.
Yeah.
So
well, and then we've got so much here. You come up north, like where I'm at, it's all lush and green. It's still a desert, but it's still pretty green. But you go down south, and then you got all the red rock and the white cliffs and the sandstone, and frankly, we've got everything you can imagine in between too.
Yeah. Floppy Jalopy actually said you literally fell for your stunt work early on in life.
Yes,
I said you're giving us Father's Day in Australia. That was like a horrible dad joke.
It was love at first fall. It really was. I just enjoyed it. They were nice enough to even give me a mat to fall on. So that was good of them.
Yeah, Floppy actually came up with a good one. Can you ride a horse?
I can. I'm actually pretty good at it. In my youth, I actually spent some time up in the mountains. Here we call them mountains, by the way. It's not mountain, it's mountain, because we have an accent. So I worked on a dairy farm. I actually rode a bull. Horses, I rode them all over the place. I'm pretty good at... I'm not too good at roping. I try that, but I could never quite... I could do it, but just not very well.
Catherine was enjoying your backyard. She said it looked very peaceful, and she hopes there isn't any mosquito. She said, "Is that your backyard?" But I think you clarified that is yours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's lovely here.
it's very
Absolutely
very
beautiful.
very nice, spacious one. She's very much enjoying it. Looks very serene. Floppy Jalopy said, "Do you have like someone at the top of your bucket list that you'd like to meet?" You mentioned a few people that
Well,
you might have enjoyed meeting.
Floppy Jalopy's one of them. I want to meet you, Floppy.
But...
Wow, I would absolutely love to meet Jim Carrey. Nobody has tickled my funny bone as much as that man. Liar, Liar. The first time I watched Liar, Liar, I probably should have went to the hospital afterwards. I couldn't breathe. It was so funny. I watched it in the theater, and it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. I mean, who doesn't want to meet Chris Hemsworth?
Oh
yeah. Robert Downey Jr. Now,
yeah.
his story is so amazing. I mean, childhood actor and all the drugs and all the alcohol, in and out of jail and prison, and then one day he just has this wake up call, and now look at him, and he does so much good nowadays, and not just for the industry, but for people in general. I would absolutely die to meet him.
I think we would too, to be honest.
Yeah, there's so many amazing actors out there that I would like to meet. Mr. Sean Connery, he's one I'd have to see. My name is Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, and I'm at your service. I don't know. It's such a large list. I couldn't even list them all here.
Yeah, I'll tell you, everyone's is like fairly long. Catherine, when you were speaking one stage, said, "I'm now guessing that he's in Utah," because you were talking about Utah an awful lot. Floppy also wanted to know what was your favorite book or music. Like, is there a particular like music you listen to on set to like get
Music.
into the zone, so to speak?
Wow. Okay, this is gonna sound really dorky, but the soundtrack to Morrowind, Elder Scrolls 3, and then the soundtrack to Skyrim. I really enjoy both of those like a lot.
Not dorky at all.
No.
The Outpost seems to be full of nerds, to be honest.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
Jake's one of the biggest nerds on the show.
I really love Imagine Dragons, and not just because they're from Utah. I honestly think they're one of the best bands in the last 20 years, maybe even more. Bastille's one of my favorites. One Republic.
Is that something you sort of listen to on set?
I hate to admit that. Takes? Yeah. I hate to admit it, but I really like old techno. It just, I don't know, just kind of gets you in the groove. You know what I mean? And yeah, I do like to kind of use these when I'm getting into character. For some reason, it kind of helps kind of pull things. But even when you're just driving in the car.
Yeah. So I was there's a few that I'd come up with actually myself as well as you was chatting. There's like, what was it like working alongside your son? You mentioned your son was, I think, an assistant on one of the projects you're working on. What was it like with that?
I'm about to make my son blush, but my son is one of the most amazing people I've ever encountered. He's brilliant. He's actually a young author. He's 16 years old, and he's really, really close to publishing his first book. But it's not just his first book. He has, like, I don't even know how many, 20s, 100, thousands, I don't know. But he wants to tie them all into the same kind of universe. And I don't want to spoil anything for him, but he's a brilliant kid. And that's why I actually asked, pleaded him to come help me with the retro space movie that we're doing, because I wanted his brilliant mind in on all of this.
That's just awesome, both as from a father perspective, but also like just as like, hey, I admire your creativity. Like,
yeah, he's amazing. I haven't even mentioned my daughter, Autumn. She's equally an amazing person. Man, I wish she could have been here too, but she's kind of all grown up. She's she's married and lives in her own house and everything, so I don't get to see her as much as I'd like. But my son's got to put up with me for at least another few years.
Is he actually listening? Is he?
Yeah, he is.
He's
Actually shaking his finger at me.
Yeah. Well, just to finish up a bit, you said about out of your comfort zone roles. What do you specify as out of your comfort zone, so to speak?
Being married for so long, I kind of have a hard time with the romantic roles. All that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I still kind of have a hard time with that. I've actually done a few things now. I had to do some things that really pushed me in Lazarus. So if you see that one, you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, I get it. But that's kind of pushing on that. I mean, I could do them, but they're still a little hard for me.
Yeah, just to wrap up my part of it, I was just going to say, having a film at Sundance that you mentioned, that's like the rev of Sundance, that is huge. That's a huge deal. So that's pretty cool. So we don't run over time. I'll pass back to Minerva and let her wrap up. And thank you for chatting with me.
Oh, thank you.
I forgot I was muted to the audience. All right, thank you again for coming to talk to us today. We do look forward to seeing more of you in the Outpost and across screens everywhere. It sounds like at this rate, we're going to end up seeing more of you. Please stay in touch. We're happy to follow your journeys. If you will take us along with you, we're going to be seeing more of you. Now, thanks again to everyone that's watching CultFans.
I want the cult to blow up just as much as you guys do. Every single one of you are amazing people. Every time I see you guys talking and everything, I'm like, I could go do something with every single one of you guys.
Take me with you, but
I'll put you in the trunk when next season when we're doing Outpost.
That doesn't sound creepy at all.
We'll put you in the trunk and I'll sneak you in. I'll have some luggage. You can just and then you can just unzip the luggage and come on.
Now, we are a little over time.
We'll be Watchmen 2, 3, 4, and 5.
There's a question that we planned to ask. We somehow missed along the way. Are there any other sci-fi or fantasy shows that, be them medieval or modern or whatever, that you're a big fan of? I think we've had a talk about this.
Okay, I'm a huge Trekkie.
Okay.
Not quite as much as my son because he knows like every episode name and all the actors' names and everything.
Star Trek Discovery.
But I'm pretty dang close. I even my ringtones are Star Trek related, which is kind of crazy. I haven't seen Discovery yet.
Did you audition?
I know. I'm waiting because I'm a binge watcher.
Yeah.
I'm really, really, really excited to hear that Patrick Stewart might be making something more. I heard a rumor. Star Wars. I enjoy Star Wars quite a bit. I'm not a full-on, geek for it. Boy, Orville. I think
yes.
he's done such an amazing job at making a space fantasy, but still making the characters human.
There's one.
And funny.
It's like, hey, I'm bringing soda onto the bridge. I don't care what you say. I mean, that line in itself, and then like when he chops his leg off and it just falls out of the rafters.
First time ever baiting. First time I will ever bait a guest because we've spoken about this before. Hey, ass butt.
Yeah. No, the Supernatural is by far one of my favorites. It's one of those that if I could go be a sheriff on Supernatural, you could go ahead and just bury me in the backyard. I'd be just fine with life. I'm done. I got to meet the boys. I got to say balls somewhere in there. I would be.
Lot of dark references here.
Oh.
Bury me in the backyard, put you in the trunk.
Fringe. Have any of you seen Fringe?
Heard of it?
Yes.
I think I started at one stage, but
I love Fringe. I think it was a tragedy that you had to cut it at 5. I know that the whole season 5 didn't seem to make much sense because he had to try to mash it all into one season.
Yeah.
But it's by far one of my favorite shows as well.
Fantastic, because it's always good to just let the audience know you're just as big a dweebs as we are. Like, you're very human, and that's what we love about you. So to everyone that's watching, thanks for watching. I'm sure he appreciates your support. Just keep tuning in. Next week, we're going to have Jennifer Griffin, the Aerostorm Entertainment producer.
Oh, Jennifer. Oh, you guys are in for a treat. She's a fantastic person.
Just
And-
going by the promo image she sent us, I'm expecting like comedy.
And coming
from,
soon, we're going to have Charon who plays Dano on the Outpost. So follow,
and he will actually talk.
like, subscribe.
You know, he was so chatty, Offset, too, all the time.
I
And we
gathered
keep
that.
getting asked, does he talk? And we're like, well,
He talks a lot.
A lot.
When I got the phone call, I was like, oh, it's him. Okay, he does have a voice, but
I you know what? I even got a picture with Dan. I'll have to post. I'll have to ask him if it's okay if I post it first. But
Okay.
I'll have to post that one.
give it to us as an exclusive. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, follow, like, subscribe, do the things. Check out CultFans.com. We've got more great content coming up. If the Outpost is new to you, stay tuned for the preview of the upcoming week. We're going to see you next week. Everyone wave goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
I need you to kill me.
Tuesday, September 11th.
Garrett,
I'm infected, Gwen.
you're infected. We have to find a cure.
There is no cure, Talon. Does a body good to get some fresh air? See the world from a new vantage point.
The Outpost Summer Series, Tuesday, September 11th on the CW.
Alright, I don't know how to turn it off. Ah, there we go.